We want to be joined by Brad McKinnon, who has represented, countless of couples on either side of these divorce proceedings. But Brad, I think this is going to be a huge, huge one. We're going to be talking about this for a while. From all the reports that you have seen, is this going to be amicable, do you think?
Will be. It seems like they reached a settlement today, at least to asset division and custody, which is shocking, given that they only announced that they were divorcing in early October. So it seems like it's going to be, at least at this stage.
Have you been surprised, though? I know this is a very high-profile, powerful couple. They're worth hundreds of millions of dollars. But kind of the, recent news reports, the bits and details that have trickled out, from my perspective, they've been quite transparent and open about this process, or at least leaked through the media.
Yeah, it was surprising. I mean, it sounded like they were off to a good start when they announced it. There wasn't a lot of ugly stories or trash being thrown around. But it's still surprising that they could move this quickly, given the substantial assets they have. Even the most amicable of high net worth divorce cases usually take a year or two just to come to a good resolution of how to divide everything.
Yeah, let's talk more about those assets. So we know that, hundreds of millions of dollars are on the line, and some reports that I've looked at say Gisele Bundchen is a higher earner than her star football quarterback husband. So how do you think, and you've experienced this, how does that work? Do they divide it 50-50, or is it going to be, 70-30, 60-40, what?
I mean, most cases are going to be divided 50-50, but it's not a requirement. It's not an equal division. It's usually equitable distribution. But it's not as simple as just saying, well, we have X amount of dollars, let's separate it in half, or we have X amount of earnings, let's divide that in half. I mean, you have substantial assets, you have substantial future assets, and then you have possibly a lot of taxable consequences in their future to dividing all these assets and to later selling them. So it's a very complicated situation, no matter how amicable they could be. To just figure out what to do with everything is a very, very complicated situation in this kind of a case.
Okay, and of course, Brad, unfortunately, there are children involved in this, and so there is no doubt going to be a custody battle playing out. Do you foresee that?
Well, it doesn't sound like that, Andrew. I mean,
okay.
The reports say that they resolved both assets and custody in mediation. Now, I believe there's 3 children involved, one that Tom has from a previous relationship, and then 2 that he shares with Gisele. But it sounds like they're putting their children first, which is always important and helpful to the children. And it also will help expedite the rest of the other issues, because custody and parenting time are usually the more complicated issues, regardless of how much money you have.
Yeah, I mean, Brad, from what it seems like in all the reporting, everything we've just discussed, that this is a pretty cut and dry settlement. Usually you hear about some of these high-profile couples, and it does get really, really nasty, and the fight is on. It doesn't seem like that's happening here.
Yeah, again, it's hard to put it all together. They just came out of the gate talking about divorce. There was no mention, at least as far as I know, that either of them had a prenup or a postnup. And then all of a sudden, just a week or 2 later, they say it's done. Now, I also believe that they probably started the process about a year or 2 ago before announcing it. And maybe they had lawyers and mediation before that to help them come to this stage. But even that is really surprising, unless during the marriage, they held everything separate. They both had substantial earnings. They both made substantial money. If they handled that separately or independently of one another through their marriage, then it would be easy to divide, because they were largely just keeping what they had.
Yeah. They've been married for 13 years. The reports suggested that they had been separated for some time, living apart in separate homes. Brad, I'm not sure if you're a football fan, if you're a Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan or a Patriots fan. How much does that play into this, where you have Gisele Bundchen, all the reports suggesting she did not want Tom Brady to come out of retirement and play yet again, and he did, obviously, and that was, at least reports are suggesting, really the main contentious issue of why we're reporting on this today, announcing their divorce. How much does that play in proceedings, do you think?
Yeah, it's hard to say. And anybody who knows me knows I could barely spell football, let alone play it. But it did seem like her concerns were that he would injure himself, possibly severely, and that would impact her and the children. I have to say, from a personal standpoint, not as a divorce attorney, it's not necessarily the best move, and I know I may get a lot of flack for this, but if she's so concerned about him being injured, the last thing you want to do is put him through a divorce and cause his attention to be focused somewhere else and exposing himself to injuries. That could have also been a lot of what motivated the quick resolution to it.
Oh, I see. Yeah, because obviously, he's still really in the thick of the NFL season, and then. There have been kind of tabloid photos, paparazzi photos of Gisele kind of just relaxing, while Tom has been having a pretty tough time on the field. I think the Bucs are 2-5 right now. Where do you see this going? Is this over? Is the drama over, or could it continue?
I have to say, it looks like the drama's over because I think they waited before announcing the divorce, and I think they waited before announcing the settlement. So usually you're not going to take that stance when you have so much at stake. Personal reputations, personal fortunes, your children. I think that they've put most of this behind them, and now it may just be some paperwork and some legal hearing maybe to put it through, but I think the hard part's over for them.
All right, Brad McKinnon, as always, we appreciate your time. We'll definitely be speaking again if there are any more developments in this story, but it's always sad to see a marriage like this end, especially with really, really beloved figures in the public eye. Brad, thanks so much.
Thanks, Andrew.